Hey guys, it is funny how we all came into this world. Some were born with opportunities, some struggled, to get opportunities, and they struggled over and over again, but still deciding that giving up was never going to be an option. My guest is a woman who had to fight for survival. She was born in Jonestown, Jamaica, but she'll tell you how her life took several turns to the point where she had to be expressed to the US of A. This woman is a kind-hearted soul who hates to hear about people suffering, people not having it, not being able to afford food and, certain supplies. And so she'll bend over backwards. I want you to stay tuned to meet this magnificent woman. I am Iberika and this is Motivations and Memoirs. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Remember, share this video with somebody and let us know what you are thinking. See you in a bit. Okay, viewers, here with me is my lovely guest. Her name is Suzanne, and she has a pet name, aka Annie Bless. Now, as I heard her name, the Annie Bless name, and what I know about her, I can understand. I don't know who gave you that name, if you dubbed yourself that Annie Bless or somebody gave you, but indeed, the blessed part of it is real. Not only is she blessed, but she is also a blessing to so many lives. So many persons are benefactors of this woman of God whom has struggled as we continue on the path of the new season, my life, my purpose, his praise. This woman is going to share with you excerpts of her life, because remember, we can't share everything. We don't have enough time to share everything about our life. So it's just excerpts of our life. But she's going to tell you, a little bit about her background, where she's from, and she resides now in the United States. She is a med tech, and she also works with the state. Now, she is a life that has been tested, and she has stories to tell about her life, her growing up, her transitioning into adulthood, and the struggles that she went through. But all through all of that, she found her purpose. And now, practically every time she talks, every sentence you hear, she says, God is good, means that she now has reached a place where she can give him praise. Welcome, Susan, to Motivations and Memoirs. It is a pleasure to have you. And I want you to just go right ahead and share your testimonies as you are led. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. The name Annie Bless was not given by me. It was given from a friend named Swain in Jungle.
Okay.
But I am from Jonestown. And then I was an adopted kid. My mom gave me away to someone in Texas jungle. While I was there, my foster parents had 7 kids, so I become the 8th one in the family.
Wow.
My foster mother was a really good lady to me, very nice lady. My foster dad was very nice to me also, the kids, everyone. But I was a rude kid, very rude kid. I'm not gonna lie to you. Give a lot of trouble.
Okay.
Anyway, I was there for years, growing up with everyone in jungle. I was there for a good years. Then one day I was in the pathway. That's what they call it, the pathway. And my mother came and kidnapped me. So at that time, no one didn't know where I was. She takes me to my grandmother in Coopersville, a place named Coopersville in Uptown.
Mm-hmm.
I was there living with my grandma, and I always see this man. He was a neighbor in Jungle, Mr. Bennett. I never forget him. He passed away. God bless his soul. I always see him pass by, and one day I said, Mr. Bennett. And then he said to me, Annie, what are you doing here? Everybody looking for you. We're wondering if you're dead or what. And he said, whose house is this? And I said, no, my grandma live here. Because the way my mother just came and
She
kidnapped me.
didn't say to the first appearance that I want back my child. She just took you.
No, she just come and take me away, kidnap me.
Wow.
Anyway, I was there going to school, living with my grandma. My grandma treat me very bad. Not good, but as I tell you already, I did rude.
Mm-hmm.
When you're rude, people treat you. But anyway, growing up there, my grandma couldn't deal with me anymore. So she tell my dad he need to come and get me. At that time, my dad didn't have the time to file for me. He had to just do something fast.
Mm-hmm.
Send me to America Express. So anyway, my dad was a producer for Dennis Brown. And I came up with Dennis Brown, Freddie McGregor as a singer. Get me? I don't even know to sing, but I just came up with the banner.
Okay.
Anyway, I was going to England and my plane stopped in New York, JFK. And I was a minor at that time, so I was under custody for the next plane that's going to England.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks be to God, I didn't get to reach in England. Dennis Brown came and he tell a security guard that he want to say something to me. He whispered in my ears and he said, go in the bathroom. And I said, okay. And when I walk in the bathroom, it was my dad in the bathroom. So he took me and we both run through Kennedy, run through the parking lot. And we run, me and him just a run. So them time that the security guard, but they didn't know which part in there. And we run. Anyway, my dad live in Queens, Richmond, LA. And he put me inside the house and he told me, he closed up the house up, the door, and he said, I'll be back. And he went back to the airport and they talked to the security guard, give him a little something and get back my documents from him. His girlfriend that was in England that night, she keep calling. I didn't see the plane coming, Annie's not on the plane. He said, don't worry. And he was trying to trick her. And then he just said, you know what? Annie's right here next to me. And they make it a joke and everybody was laughing. And, cut a long story short now, because that story is very long. Couple years ago, I was homeless. And I lost my house. My husband and I, we broke up.
Wow.
And it was so much. I was going through so much. And I never know this could have stopped. It was so much pain. And I work, I have 2 jobs. And when I lost my house, don't care how I was looking for place. And when I go to look on the place, people would say, it's okay. And then after, I don't get the approve. Anyway, I had a friend at my job. We both work in a nursing home together. And one day she see me and she said, what happened? And I was telling her what I was going through. She said she herself was losing her apartment, but she said, it's okay, I could come and stay with her. I have a son and I have a little daughter. And I thank her so much. Why? Because I just knew her and she helped me. All of my other friends, draw away from me. Nobody to help me. I look left, there was no one. I look right, there was nobody to help me but God. And today I give God the glory. I was living inside of my car. I was living in hotel where I was spending $100 a night to sleep in the hotel. Anyway, that girl, come back to her. I was staying at her house, and one day I went to this store because I tell her I will buy food and do any necessary, just for her to
Yeah.
put me up. I was so grateful for what she have done for me. And she see my receipt of my bank. The receipt, when I go to the ATM and the receipt, piece of paper. So she said to me if she could borrow $500 from me. I said, no problem. Yes, I will lend it to you. I go to the bank and I lend her $500. I take out the $500. When I come back, she said she don't want five. She want 1,000. I said, I cannot lend you 1,000. You said you want five, so that's what I'm gonna lend you. Anyway, we worked together, and she and my son got into a little thing. Anyway, I had leave there and I rent and go rent a room. I finally get a room to rent. And I left. Anyway, I see her one day. She was keep texting my son on his phone and calling him all type of name. So I went to work and I said to her, why you keep bothering with him? He's just a child. Why you keep? And anyway, we had a little misunderstanding, and she went on her floor. I went on my floor. And I was getting ready now to go and pop meds, getting ready to start my job. I heard my name announced on the microphone to come down at the main office. I came down, I was walking, I said, I wonder, what is this now? So I walked down. When I reach, I see a whole heap of police outside. And the officer said to me when I walk up, he said, step outside. He said, first he asked me my name. Then he said, step outside. I said, for what? And he said, step outside. When I step outside, he put the handcuff on my hand. He said, you're under arrest. I said, what have I done? He said, didn't you said you was gonna kill such and such? I said, oh my God. Anyway, he put the handcuff on my hand. He put me in the car. I went to the precinct. When I went to the precinct, I was inside the cell. While I was in the cell, I was about to cry, but it's like a spirit come over me. That warm spirit said, no, it is well. Don't cry. I said, okay then, God, because I know it was God. So I was there and I was praying inside of my heart. And I was talking to God. I started to cough, and the officer would pass back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He said to me he was going to close the cell. I said to him, please, officer, do not close the cell because I'm claustrophobic. And with my asthma, I would not breathe. Please. Anyway, he said, okay, I'm not going to close it. That was God. Him go back and forth again, and him come back and him say, he's going to let me out soon. Remember now, I get arrested and I didn't do any fingerprint. Remember, you get arrested and you're supposed to get fingerprint and go through the system. And I talked to God. I said, God, I lost everything. This is the only thing I have is my job. And I cannot afford to lose my job. Anyway, the officer came and he gave me a paper and said, okay, I'm going to give you a summons. You have to come up, show up such and such time in court. And he gave me a paper to come back to court, to go back to court. And I leave that night. The room that I said that I had rented, when I leave there, when I leave that place that night, and I went to the room where I was, it was another thing. The person who I rent that room from, they wasn't the owner for the house. So when I go get there, it was police again. I'm leaving out of one police, coming into another police. It was police again. So the officer said I should drive with him, go to the precinct. This time now it's in Queens. I went to the precinct with him and I was there until like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was there, but I'm still talking to God. And an officer said, they said they should lock me up because what am I doing in the house? And I explained to them where I rent the place from such and such person. And I showed them the receipt for everything. And anyway, I heard one of the officers said, lock her up for what? What she did? Because I explained myself and tell them how I get the place. And I was there till like 2:30. Anyway, they finally let me out. They let me out like 2:30 in the morning. And as I was walking, I was talking to God. And I said, God, why am I going through so much things? Why? Them say not supposed to question God, but I was just wondering why. Anyway, cut a long story short, time come now for me to go back to court. And the morning I called out for my morning job. And I went to court very early. And I sit in the parking lot and I was reading Psalms. Psalms was on my head. Psalms was in my head. And I was reading what David been through. I didn't even get to Job because Job went through a lot. But when I was sitting in Psalms, and I was reading Psalms and I was praying and talking to the Lord. And I asked him for help and he did help me. Anyway, the court opened and I went in the court. I was sitting in the court and an officer said, anyone that did not get fingerprint, listen for your name. And I was there and I said, Lord, please don't let my name call, please. And I was pleading to him. And when I look, I see the officer call a lot of people. They go get their fingerprint. When I look, I see he stopped now, and that was it. My name never call. So anyway, they start now, and they say they're gonna start the case now, and my name call up, and I walk up to the judge, and he said, "Do you have a lawyer?" I said, "No, Your Honor." He said, "Do you want a lawyer?" I said, "No, Your Honor. I can talk for myself." And he said, it didn't even go into it. He just said to me, you know what? Stay away from this girl and stay away from this workplace. Have a good day. I looked up, I looked on the judge and I said, thank you, Your Honor. I walked straight out of that court crying straight to the parking lot because I never see something like this. But God is good.
Amen.
When I call some of my friends and I explain to them, they even go around and they tell everyone, can you believe this? And I had a friend, she would share it with other people and said, I know someone that get arrested, didn't get any fingerprint. And I have a co-worker and she was saying to me, I should tell the manager, tell the boss that what happened. And I said, no, I'm not going to tell anyone. They have to call me and tell me I was arrested. And glory be to God. I didn't do any fingerprint. Nothing didn't come up on my name. I didn't lose none of my job them. And I just want to tell somebody, oh, good God is. God is worthy. He's worthy to be praised. He's good. God is a good God. We just have to trust him and believe in him. He's worthy of all the praise. He's worthy. Today, you can see this is my home that I live in, that he blessed me with. I'm still with my two jobs. And I'm just giving God the glory. I'm still with my Lord. I will never turn back. And I just pray and I hope and continue my testimony could touch someone that's going through it. That is my few words.
Right, so that's some of the few words. But I want you also to share, because persons would be wondering, all right, so here are talking about God. Is she a Christian? When did she meet God? So I wanted to share, because I remember the story also of the struggles, the near misses that you had when your papers finally came through with the final.
Oh,
So she had issues just getting through every time her papers were to be for, because as she said, people, she was a rude girl.
yeah,
So
very.
going to America never really changed that. She acted up, and of course, listening to your story and the background info, which a lot of persons not privy to. Growing up in a tough inner city community, not getting the love and the care that you would want from your parents. Well, father was away, mother unable. And I've said to persons, you cannot give what you don't have. A lot of persons in Jamaica and worldwide has the same experience where they say, I grew up with my mother, but my mother never ever told me that she loved me. My mother never ever embraced. My mother never treated me like, I was loved. As a result of that, it leads up to children acting out. We get trouble,
Mhm.
get into a lot of fights, etc. And it is a way of defending and protecting yourself, because you're always on the defense, because not getting love, not being affirmed, you think that you are less than. And so the way to deal with that is just to be on the defense. So you attack. You don't wait until you're attacked. So you're always attacking. So moving now to the States, that didn't change. You also shared your fact that he never have time to sit with you because he's a busy man. The man produce people like Dennis Brown and those people that have no time. Sorry, your asthma acting up on you.
Yeah.
As she said, she's having a bit of issue, but she's still pressing on.
Mm.
Right. So he didn't have the time to spend with you. He wasn't married. He had girlfriends.
Yeah.
So at times you were between girlfriends, and some never treat you good.
Mm-hmm.
So in the quest for love, you ended up finding love or seeking love in the wrong place, that ended up getting pregnant at an early,
At a younger age.
right. And then you had how many kids?
4.
4 kids. Wow. Then the whole saga of you of daddy trying to get you stabilized now, get your papers and get you sorted out for the state. One of the things that I looked on. So you have had other incidents where you were arrested.
Yes.
Ended up on the wrong.
Because my father was a hustler, as you know what a hustler is.
Mm-hmm.
He involved in a lot of stuff.
Right.
So at a younger age, he had me in his business also.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma would come from Jamaica. She would stay in the restaurant. He had a restaurant and he also from out of the restaurant. And I'm there too. I get a couple of arrests. From there, and when I used to go to school, just when I come from Jamaica, and them kids will tease you or you talk as a Jamaican, them tease you and laugh after you. And I would quick to fight, because I remember which family I come from now. So, all of that was inside, I had a bitterness inside of me. That only God one could have changed me. My father girlfriend that he lived with, there was something about her. My dad put in my documents so many times, and every time the paperwork would come, she would rip it up, throw it in the garbage. How we knew that? At the time when I tell myself, and when God said to me, this is it, come, my child. When the Lord draw me up now and said I belongs to him, and he started to show me stuff, and I would pray and ask him that I want to change. That was one of my prayer. I want to change. And one day I called my dad. No, I had a friend. One day we was walking and it was a 10 church going. I never forget that day. And my friend and I, we went over to the church, even though she's a Christian today now. And sometimes she would ask me and said, Annie, you remember that day when we go to church? She's a Christian now too. And the lady said to you, what you want her to pray for you for? And I said, I want a change and I want to get close with the Lord. She always reminded me of that. Say every time as we see each other, she reminded me. Glory be to God. God is good. And when my dad put in my documents, and that lady would rip it up. So anyway, I get serious now, and I said I have to change. I want to change my life now. I want a change. And I called him and I said, I ready for my documents to be put in. And he said, okay. He said he has to use a lawyer. And I said, good. Anyway, when the lawyer put in the paper now, I said, I'm not going to use my dad's address because I didn't want that lady to do anything else again with the documents. So I tell the lawyer to use my address. And they use my address. The lawyer, I never forget, one day he get a letter and he called me and he said, immigration said you denied them. I said, oh. They said they sent in for interview for you and you didn't show up. Poor me, I didn't know nothing. But anyway, I tell him, resend back in the documents them back. And him resend the thing back. He said to me, you have any arrest? I was honest enough and I tell him, yes, I got arrested. And he said, can you go to the court and get all those disposition letter? I was scared because I remember one of the time I had to pay a fine, and I remember I didn't pay that fine, but I'm going to show you who good God is. I went to the court. I was crying. I was inside the line. And at the time, I called my son, Dad, and I said to him, I don't know, maybe you have to come and bail me because I did have a fine. I remember I had a fine, and I didn't pay the fine. And he said to me, stop crying, just pray, pray. He always tell me to pray. Anyway, I went up to the lady at the court and she said, how can I help you? And I said, good evening. I am here for a disposition letter. She asked me what was my name, and I tell her my name. She said to me, I'm not seeing your name in the computer. I said, Miss, yes, I get arrested and my name supposed to be in the computer and I'm getting filing for, and I need my disposition letter. She said, there's no disposition letter here for you. Your name is not in the computer. Okay. I said, okay, have a nice day. I went back to the lawyer and in Manhattan, and I went and I said to him, I said, Jeffrey, I went there and they said there wasn't no disposition letter. He said to me, you get arrested, right? And I said, yes. I remember me and me not mad, me get arrested. And he said to me, all right, go back down at the court. Tell the lady, say, you get arrested. And you was evil at Rikers Island. For how long you said you was? Because I tell him how long I was there for, almost 2 weeks. And I went back to the court. I see a different lady. And I said, good afternoon, miss. And she said, how can I help you? I said, I'm here for my disposition letter. I'm getting filing for, and I need my disposition letter. She said, your name is not in the computer, miss. And I said, miss. And she said, your name is not in the computer. I said, okay. I didn't go back to Manhattan. I called the lawyer and I said, Jeffrey, go ahead and put in whatever you have to put in. They said my name is not in the computer. Anyway, he did what he's supposed to do. And I remember where I was living.
Hold that thought. We're talking about my life, his purpose.
Yeah.
Now, I'm laughing as you're talking because who the sun sets free.
Set is free is dear.
Free indeed.
Yeah.
Things go down. You were locked up. You went to which place? Rikers Island or Rikers,
yeah.
whatever, however the pronunciation is.
Yeah, Rikers Island, yes.
Almost 2 weeks. And nothing in the system for you. Now, purpose means that this is what you have to focus on. This is where our life, everything that we do in our life is surrounded by our purpose, the things that we do. Now, you are someone who God has lifted from way down.
Yeah, from the pit.
From the pit.
And
we're not talking the pit because you're from jungle. Because
no.
We're talking about the type of things that you went through.
Yes.
So we classify it as pits, a dark place, right? No, God set you free. You didn't understand it, and it is normal to say then.
At that time, I didn't understand it. Yeah, but now sometimes I
through the system. How come nothing in the system?
Yes.
For me, but purpose allow the charges not only to be dropped, but also gleaned the system of your name, so them not have nothing. Nothing to block you, right? Because God knows that purpose must be fulfilled. Well, you definitely know that was not the end. Not true, right? So that was part 1. I also know that you're watching and you're struggling and you're going through stuff. You have also received another encouragement that it's not over. And what you're going through is definitely not the end. God still has a plan. There's still a miracle out there for you. There is still hope because you are still breathing the breath of life. So God will make a way. Even when there seems to be no way, He'll work in ways that you cannot see. He will make a way for you. Remember, guys, as you go, subscribe to Motivations and Memoirs, hit the notification bell so that you will be notified when part 2 comes out, and I will see you in the next part. Take care of yourselves, be good to yourselves, and remember, your life has a purpose, and when purpose is fulfilled in our lives, we can do nothing else than just give God praise. See you next week.